I'll start off with a little bit about me. I don't tell my coworkers much about myself. They mainly just know me as that guy that went on The Price is Right that one time. And my friends mainly know me as that guy that lies to his coworkers. Some of you fell for that. Some of you were like, he's going to talk about meeting Drew Carey. Nope. Misdirection. There's a group of people on the internet that I think are hilarious. And they're men's rights activists. Already funny, not even done with the setup yet. And they call themselves meninists. And my favorite thing about men's rights activists is call themselves meninists is that means that they think the opposite of feminine is meninin. It's a whole movement that's never heard the word masculine before. It's like when somebody says they're a meatitarian. Oh, you eat meatables? Shut the fuck up. No, you don't. Oh man, so I was at a comedy club a while ago, sat down, there was a piece of glass in the bar stool, it went through my jeans and I cut my butt cheek. Don't worry, I survived. And a couple minutes later I went to the bathroom to make sure I was doing okay. But there's normally nobody in this bathroom, so I didn't even look up. I just immediately reached my hand down my pants, pulled it out and went, oh, good. And then I looked up, and there's like 7 guys waiting to use the urinal looking right at me like, what the fuck? So you know how sometimes you mutter an excuse to yourself, but like loud enough that they can hear it? Like if you push in a door, and then you realize it says pull, and you're like, the door gets stuck every time, right guys? I tried to do that in this situation, so what I said was, just checking to make sure my butt's not still bleeding. Because it was earlier. And then I left. I told this joke for a couple of years before it occurred to me that that night I left the bathroom. I didn't leave the bar. So I like to think, and hope actually, that later that night there was a lull in conversation. And one of those guys was like, hey, you see that guy over there? Don't ask me how I know. But his butt was bleeding earlier. Topic of conversation. At another comedy club in town, I was hosting a show about a year after that, and I got off stage, was in the bathroom, while the feature act was up, and an audience member came in and he tried to open the stall door, and then he said, and this is a direct quote, he said, "Oops, didn't realize anyone was in there. But by the way, good set tonight." I was like, did he just look at me through the crack and then tell me he did it? Got some perverts coming to the funny bone. And so I was like, thanks, I guess. So yeah, there's some winners and some losers. What the fuck? Not only is he peeping Tom guy, he's also backhanded compliment guy. I guess I'm not pooping at this comedy club anymore. There was another comedy club on the Illinois side of St. Louis, and it was called Hey Guys Comedy Club. And they were as good at keeping it open long term as they were at naming it initially. R.I.P. Hey Guys. And 2 businesses before it was a comedy club, it was a strip club. And then it was a steakhouse, then it was a comedy club, and at no point did anyone remove the mirrors on the ceiling. So at some point, I'm, feature act, in between shows, I had to use the bathroom, I'm sitting on the toilet, I go to stretch my neck, and I'm like, uh-oh, there's my entire cock and balls. Pretty sure you can see this in the urinal. Pretty sure you can see this from the sink. We are going to the dollar store next time I have to do this. So that original guy that looked at me through the crack, a couple minutes later, we're both washing our hands at the same time. He looked at me and he goes, "You comedians, do you guys like to do hard drugs?" And I was like, what is happening? He goes, "Oh, it's just that back in my day," he was my age, what the fuck? "Back in my day, comics like Sam Kinison are all doing heroin and killing themselves. Why don't you guys do that anymore?" like, kill ourselves? We do sometimes. Read the news. Sorry, that part's sad. And then I recognized him. He was the guy who was sitting front center, and he was vaping so much I felt like an NBA player being introduced. And it was banana flavored. Ugh. It was the grossest detail you're going to hear all night. I might tell a pedophile joke later. Who knows? So I grew up Catholic. This isn't the pedophile joke. And one cool thing about Catholicism is more than other types of Christianity, it's like a book club. Because none of us actually read the Bible, we still showed up for wine and snacks. We got some Catholics right here clapping because they knew the punchline before I said it. I was a cafeteria Catholic, they know what this is. No, when I'm not in St. Louis or like, I don't know, Boston or somewhere that's like half Catholic people, I'm like, okay, good, someone can relate to me. So as a cafeteria Catholic, supposed to be an insult. You know how you go to a cafeteria and you pick and choose where you want to eat based on what doesn't look gross? This is you pick what you're going to believe based on what doesn't sound stupid. Like I learned about heaven and I was like, that's cool, I believe in that, I'm going to go there. And then I learned about hell and I was like, boo, disagree. This one's not real. And I learned about transubstantiation, which is the belief that the bread and wine actually physically turns into the body and blood of Jesus Christ. And I was like, that's cool as hell. I believe that. That's awesome. That's so metal. And then I learned that we're not allowed to use contraception when we have sex. And I was like, that's more of a suggestion. The things that are rules, I was like, the things that are like weird shit happen in the Bible. I'm like, cool. And then I read the news and heard about all of the various scandals, and I was like, well, I believe this, so I guess I'm done here. So, it's what happened to a lot of people in my generation. So my mom's still really involved in the parish, and she was asking if I could think of any things they could do to get more younger adults like me to come back to Mass. And I was like, I don't know, just make it more fun, right? Have the priest be like, eat this bread, for it's my body. Drink this wine, for it's my blood. Close your eyes and touch this cold spaghetti, for it's my brains. Feel these peeled grapes, it's my bowl of eyeballs. Here at Jesus' Mystery Castle. Or you just let us throw eggs at the pro-life people, that'd be fun, right? You liked that one joke that JC told, so I was like, okay, we're in Arkansas, but they're on my side. There's a pro-life group at my mom's parish that, going against what the bishop said, they protested the vaccine and then they campaigned against Medicaid expansion. It's insane. The only logic I could think of that makes them think it makes sense if they're like, well, technically, if everyone dies a little bit sooner, there will be fewer abortions. So my point is, if we can key those people's cars, I'll come back to Mass. Sounds awesome. So here's something most audiences don't agree with. Time to dig a hole. I think it's dumb when people complain that Christopher Columbus didn't discover America. Who's with me? Probably nobody. Because here's the thing, I'm not saying he got here first. I'm just saying there's more than enough things to complain about this guy without that one. You got mass murder, rape, genocide, enslaving people, and then people are like, and he didn't even discover America. Who cares? Neither did you. That's like if you were like, man, you know the BTK killer? Do you know he also had expired tax? The evil that walks among us, guys. You know that Jeffrey Epstein sometimes didn't pay his taxes? Oh. People can be real bad in this world. You know the guy Adolf Hitler? You know what he did? Didn't even discover America. So fuck that guy, for many reasons, okay? Here's another one. Here's something else audience members don't usually agree with. I think it's dumb firefighters have American flags on their uniform. Who's with me? Probably even less people than the last joke. Because here's the thing. We're in Arkansas. What else country are you gonna be from? It's like, oh man, my house burned down. What happened? I tried to flag down a firefighter. Turns out it was a Canadian Mountie. If only you could tell them apart. Also, it's already like a cool, important job that's hard to do, and like you get a lot of respect. Why you also gotta pretend you're in the army? Like firefighters don't work for the United States of America. They work for the special tax districts we set up to pay for emergency services. Like put that on your shirt, right? And I know what some of you are thinking because people have yelled it out before. What about 9/11? Yeah, I know, I didn't forget. I promised I'd remember, and I kept that promise. And yeah, some firefighters died in 9/11, and that's very sad. But way more finance guys died on 9/11 than firefighters. Did you ever think about that? We never talk about them. They were the target of the attack. I've never heard about a finance guy ironing a patch into his Brooks Brothers jacket. Get up for my bro, he was doing spreadsheets that day. My recording ended. I'm going to finish that joke in a second. I just want to record this. So I told that joke one time in Waterloo, Illinois. A small town named for the place where Napoleon was defeated by the armies of Europe, but was where I was defeated by a 90% elderly Republican audience. In the middle of that joke, a lady yelled out, "Next!" And I was like, what, do you guys have a flag patch factory in town or something? And then everybody applauded. And I looked it up later, there's no patch factory. I think it's just because I said flag in a positive tone of voice. You watch enough Fox News, that's all it takes. I, as a comic, can be like, flag, America, patriotism, then they'll just jizz in their pants. They're real dumb. Sorry. If you're a Republican, I don't apologize. You can boo if you want. So I'm recording a stand-up album this summer in St. Louis, so I'm doing as much as I can to promote it in town, which includes going around and hanging up posters. You know how sometimes you'll be at a bar and there's like a collage of trash that artists have hung up because of their dreams? Well, I'm adding to that collage. And sometimes you'll ask, hey, can I hang up this poster? And they'll say, can you leave one with me? I'll show it to the manager, and they'll decide. And then, it's very embarrassing to hand this person an 11 by 17 print of my face. Because then they look at the print, they look at me, they look down at it, and I walk out as fast as I can. It's like, hey, I know this is a real business, and you're able to survive the pandemic, and you're kind of a pillar of the community, but don't you think my fucking face should be on the front of the building? Don't you think all your customers should have to look at my dumbass face? And another thing is, like, you have to figure out what events just happened so you can take their poster down to make room for yours. So the best time to hang up posters is the week of Shen Yun. Do you guys get Shen Yun here? Because if you ask anybody, can I hang up a poster, and they say no, and you're like, what about this shit? The weird Chinese Scientology group? You want to show them, but you don't want to show this face? The problem is recently, the most recent event that was being advertised was not a concert or a comedy show, it was a rally, and the poster said, ceasefire now, end the genocide. And I'm like, well, the rally already happened. So someone else is going to take it down if I don't. So these people are sitting here in this like fancy like entertainment district of St. Louis eating their overpriced cheeseburgers, and I walk past to tear down the anti-genocide poster and then hang up a big-ass photo of my face. And it's not the headshot from the bathroom here, it's a different one. It's me going like this. And it's like my face in the picture is bigger than my face in real life. So if you go to St. Louis in the next few months, you can be like, hey, I've seen that guy live. I don't have an end to that one. I don't know. Whenever I graduated from college, I went and taught English for a year at a university in China. And one thing that happened was all my students wanted me to give them an English name, you know, like John or Sally or something like that. They're whispering, they're like, yeah, we've heard of this. Okay. I'm making, in case they haven't heard of it, I'll be like, they've heard of it. But the problem is, whenever I lesson plan to like to drink a few beers, let's just say right now in China, there's a young woman tells white people her name's Octopussy. Got through a lot of the Bond curls. They're all doing better than Finger Bang. He's having a hard time. I also almost got in a fight with a Chinese guy, and I learned an important life lesson that we should all know, which is, if you're gonna try and intimidate somebody, just use your own language. Because at some point I said to him, how about you get the fuck out of my face? And then he said, no, you fuck my face. I'm an English teacher, I can explain what's wrong, but you're not gonna like it. But then again, maybe that's just how he fights, right? Maybe that was a trap. Because you fall for it, that's the most vulnerable position from which to fight. Inside someone's mouth. Because then you're like, where do I hit him without hitting me? It's an answer, have you guessed it? It's the back of the throat, that's where you hit him. People are groaning. I'm not saying do that to your girlfriend. I'm saying if you're in a fist fight with the man in the street, you accidentally put your penis in his mouth. And you can be a rude lover. So when I was in high school, one of my best friends worked in a movie theater. And he was telling me about all these things he learned about people who go to the movies. And then he went, oh yeah, I learned a new racial stereotype. And I was like, uh-oh. Not something you want to hear from a close friend of yours. So I was like, okay, what is it? And he goes, every time, and this is like justified, he goes, every time anyone ever orders nachos at the movie theater, they're always black. And that makes a lot of you uncomfortable, that made me very uncomfortable. But then every white person I told about that said, wait, they have nachos at the movie theater? So guys, it's true, but it's not black people's fault. Everybody likes nachos. The stereotype should be black people are better at reading menus than we are. That joke's technically critical race theory. Can't tell it at school or I'll be arrested. I don't know if that's a law down here. It's real stupid in Missouri. So every year in St. Louis, where I'm from, in January something, whenever the crime statistics for the year come out, there's people that work for the police union and all these people that are big fans of the cops. And they get on Twitter and they're like, see, look at these numbers. Look at all these unsolved murders from last year. Look at all this crime. You defund the police, who's going to solve all the unsolved murders? Who's going to stop all the crime? And I'm always like, probably the same nobody that did it last year. Law enforcement's weird because it's the only profession where the argument to get more money is, we're doing a pretty bad job. Maybe with a bigger budget. And we go, God damn, can't beat that logic. Here's 48% of the municipal budget. That's like if your boss was trying to fire you and in the meeting you were like, yeah, but what if the next guy takes a dump in the break room 2 times? Gotcha, bitch. Now I make $300,000 a year. No, but the cops in St. Louis are real fucking stupid. And if you don't agree with me, you don't live where I live and read the news where I live. They're always like tasing each other, like shooting each other, beating up undercover cops during a protest, getting sued for it. There's been a recent, epidemic of police officers crashing their cars. One was into a church sign, and then they just propped the sign back up, but then the neighbor was like, "Hey church, I noticed this thing in my camera." One car ran into a gay bar, and they were like, "Oh, a dog ran out in front of the car." But then you look at the video, there's not a dog, but there's a cop going very fast and then swerving into a building for no reason. And their excuse was, these cars are hard to drive. They're just regular SUVs. You've had them for 12 years. Literally, they had a press conference, and they were like, "Well, it's not easy driving cars while you're on your phone and playing with your laptop." I know a lawyer in St. Louis, and she was telling me about there was a client of hers that had a warrant out for his arrest, and the sheriff of the city of St. Louis, who's an elected official, wanted to personally arrest the guy with the warrant. So he drove to the address 4 times over 4 weeks before calling the lawyer. And she looked at the paper and said, "This is a P.O. box." If you're not laughing yet, you haven't thought of the logistics of this yet. That means this man put on his little police hat, got into his car that's very hard to drive, put on his lights to speed through stop signs for fun, drove to the post office, kicked down the door like, "Where is he?" He's like, "Well, I'll be back next week. You tell me if you could." And then she was like, "Dude, you're not going to find a living adult man inside of a 6x11-inch metal box." It's so dumb. And then last year, this part's sad, but you'll be laughing in a minute. There was a school shooting less than a mile from my house. And the cops showed up and immediately shot the shooter. And everyone was like, "They're heroes. They saved the day." And I was like, no one's ever accused St. Louis Police Department of being shy about shooting people. Are you kidding me? Let's not clap because they got the right guy one time. They're shooting armed criminals, unarmed criminals, undercover police officers in uniform. This is their passion in life, and they're dedicated to the craft. There's a bar near my house that's less than a mile from that school called Bomber O'Brien's, and a couple years ago, 2 cops went there after work, got drunk, and then shot at a guy in the parking lot that they argued with. He didn't get hit. But what I'm saying is, they're even practicing during non-work hours. Uvalde police, they stood there with their thumbs up their ass for 2 hours while kids are getting shot down in Texas. They're not practicing like they are in St. Louis. They're both bad. It always feels good to go to a red state and be like, "Fuck the police, you'll agree with me by the end of the joke." Last time I was down in Bentonville, I told that joke about firefighters with patches in uniform, and then I told the police joke, and one guy yelled out, "Make fun of nurses next!" And I was like, "What is this?" What? I wasn't even making fun of the firefighters. And how is that the next person in uniform down the line? So I wrote a joke about, no, I didn't write a joke about nurses. So we all agree, right? There's 2 types of toilets. There's 2 shapes of toilets. We all know this, right? There's oval toilets, which are normal, and as a man, you can live your life like a human being with dignity while you sit upon it. And then there's the circle toilets, which are smaller. And say it with me, men, your dick touches the underside of the seat every time. Sometimes the front of the bowl, which not everyone cleans great. Don't ask how I know. My favorite thing about this joke is when there's a couple sitting together and they lean in and then he nods and then she looks horrified. Because this is definitely true. My point is, Ladies, if you go home with the man and he has a circle toilet in his apartment, please don't put that penis in your mouth. I'd say I don't know where it's been, but you know somewhere it might have been. Like if you go to a restaurant and the menu is like, we have excellent steak, big asterisk, Food and Drug Administration says steak might have touched a toilet before, go to a different restaurant. Don't just hope it took a shower since then. This joke's just a PSA. That stands for Penis Sanitation Advisory. One time I told that joke and a group of women came up to me after the show to show me that they'd all texted their boyfriends and fiancés, and all 6 of them responded, unfortunately, yes. Exact same wording, which was hilarious. And they were like, we were talking about it, yeah, there's the small ones that like, it's hard not to touch it with your hand when you wipe, and that's like a little gross, it's not that bad. And I was like, it's worse for me than it is for you. Because if you're in the bathroom, it's not strange in a public bathroom to wash your hands. But if you walk in and I'm just straddling the sink, shaking it to get the sensor to go off, pumping hand soap down there, up against the wall, shoving my balls into a Dyson Airblade, I'm pretty sure they'd be like, sir, you need to leave.